Beyond Good and Evil. From one of Ubisoft's passionate IPs to what is now just a whisper in the wind, nearly forgotten and lost in limbo. Huh. That sounds way too familiar, doesn't it? But yeah, no joke, this game had a small team of around 30 people working on it, with the leadership of the one and only Michael Ansel, one of the biggest names in the video game industry, who is also behind one of gaming's most beloved franchises, Ray Mabbids. Apparently that's where the priorities are right now. It's his 25th birthday and this is what you give him? You cold-hearted, nasty bitch! Biggest goal for this ambitious title was to give a meaningful and impactful story while offering a wide, expansive world to sink your gamer teeth into. Supposedly starting off a trilogy, Ansel envisioned a world that was deep, cinematically beautiful, and admirable with the sense of charm and wonder that keeps you engaged all the way through. Now I imagine this had to be a whole new different feel for Ubisoft, or at least something totally different from what the masses were used to, because, fast forward to E3 2002, not a lot of people liked what they saw. They've received massive criticisms for the presentation, like, oh, the game was too artistic. Oh, the main protagonist's design was piss poor. Oh, that looks like that one other game I played. Oh, and y'all are just cowards. Now let me remind y'all that this was the early 2000s. Games weren't exactly looked as an artistic form yet. That debate started 10 years later about hooded ghosts skating in sand. And sadly, because of this, games had to run the risk of pleasing the masses just a bit, making their passion projects more streamlined and familiar so that they can put it on TVs, magazines, and hey y'all, buy my crap. Game development wasn't exactly, hey, I have an idea, let's make it, as cool as that would have been. Video games require people and money, and Lord knows how Ubisoft was feeling about the whole thing. My point being is that Ubisoft's biggest passion project was forced to make these streamlined changes to make it at least cool and to get those good ratings. And from the looks of their initial release on November 11th, 2003, it got it. 80s, the 90s, all across the board. I don't see a single 70 anywhere. I'm serious, look at this. Despite the game having to rework itself, deviating from the initial vision the game first had, it definitely paid off. Sucks to be sure, but at least nowadays, we can now appreciate video games as art and a passionate form of media, but this was 2 decades ago. It was all about licensed music, giving cute characters edge and guns, and we gotta please those bro lads.
So remember to always use your seatbelts and obey the laws of the road.
Literally. Yet despite all of that, making all the changes, trying to please all the gamers, the game sold the equivalent of green squeeze-em ketchup. Not very good. The game sadly fell under the same boat I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Critically praised, commercially disappointing. Beyond Good and Evil wasn't exactly pushed out there, probably because people were mostly into games that worked the PS2 hardware to deep fry power. But really, Ubisoft had the hots for sexy Arabian man with time powers instead, preceded by releasing the same game over and over again.
What did you say about Assassin's Creed?
Oh, they found me! Ah! Fortunately, it wasn't the end for Beyond Good and Evil though. A second chance was pulled off in 2011 as an HD release for the Xbox 360, PS3, and Steam, which will be the version I'll be showcasing today. The Xbox 360 version. Because Lord, is the Steam version really ugly. I'm sure everyone watching has a Windows 10 computer at this point, and the game wasn't exactly made for computers past XP. Also, the game doesn't have controller support. That's neato. But you can play it on Xbox One, which is the more accessible way to play it now, and the one I recommend if you plan on giving the game a whirl. And there's a sequel in the works. Yeah. Y'all forgot, didn't ya? Oh, I'll get to that later. Back to the subject, what's the game even about? What do you do? Let's not dilly-dally any longer, y'all. Let's get down and funky with Beyond Good and Evil. The game is centered around a planet known as Hillis, which is under constant attack by some unknown aliens known as the Doms. Also known as really creepy skeleton noodles who clearly don't know what social distancing means. Oh, freak, you coughed in my mouth! Hillis is somewhat under the protection of some army force known as the Alpha Sections, who have a bad habit of arriving just in the nick of time. It's almost concerning. Yeah, they cool, they powerful, but they need to get their fashion sense in check. What even is that? Our protagonist for the game is Jade, a caretaker for orphans in a lighthouse, a reporter going around helping those in distress, original game character of the year, and a homegirl on a mission to whack these uncooked noodles back into oblivion. Get 'em, girl! Also, where can I get that jacket? It's so cool and I want it. While on a mission, she was informed about some resistance network called Iris, a rebellion trying their best to expose Alpha Section's shady actions supposedly working with the Doms. Or maybe they're under their control. I don't know, man. Either way, a galactic army involved with slavery, trafficking, conspiracies, whatever the heck they're doing, political injustice, and dictatorship all seems fishy in my books. But who can tell if any of that mumbo jumbo is true, am I right? Luckily, that's where Jade comes in, rocking that shaded green with a stare that could scare off the deepest of inner thoughts. We also got our homeboy Paige, a bipedal pig who's good with a snip snip, but most importantly, taking up almost half of the game's dialogue by just yelling.
As for me, I'll try to get that stupid hovercraft up and running. I'm here, otherwise this whole place will fall apart.
Man, who would just want to yell throughout the entire thing? That must be exhausting. Who does that, am I right? He's also a precious sweet man and I want to hug him forever. It's up to these two losers, you two I guess, to help the Iris Network open the citizens' eyes to the truth, expose the Alpha Section's true colors and make them pay for their crimes. Kicking butt, sneaking around, treasure hunting, and meeting some cool diverse peeps along the way. You got the Rhino Jamaican Mama Go clan who are cool as hell, Secundo, an AI companion living in our sack. Synthetical atomic compressor, not what you're thinking, I swear. This shark dude who keeps telling you ain't jack shit. The furry bait because ooh wee, yes sirree. And we also get stuff like this.
Ah! Help! SOS! We're being fired upon! The Doms!
I don't think she should be driving. One little tidbit I want to make before I move on to the gameplay. Usually when it comes to early 2000s games like this one, when there's two or more characters on a journey, they usually bicker and fight with each other. And given Jade's tomboy design, that's kind of what I expected. A Rudy who listened to Fall Out Boy before they were cool. But to my surprise, yes, Paige and Jade are sassy with each other, but it's all in good fun. It feels real. Like this feels like a genuine real friendship. None of that character arc garbage or cheesy one-liner crap. I don't know, y'all. It's adorable. It's cute. Put these two in a sitcom chugging down cheesecake, just sass talking about the day.
Thank you for being a friend.
Okay, gameplay, what do we got? Well, firstly, you'll be exploring this semi-open, vibrant world, going from point A to B, chatting with the cuties, stocking up on that dough, and lastly, wondering why these kids' main diet is nothing but Taco Bell. Taco Bell. Just inhale our goddamn food. Now, you're not gonna go completely on foot all throughout the game. The world they give you is pretty chunky. You got a hovercraft you get pretty early on, and it'll be your main source of transportation for the majority of your playtime. It shoots, it goes fast, and you can travel on land with it. Just a heads up, in case y'all don't know, you can go on land. I'm probably very stupid for figuring this out late game, but yes, I know it looks like a boat, and you're gonna be traveling mostly on water, but you can clearly go on land. You can go inside those caves, get on that land. Now, knowing where to go is key. You have an objective bar right on the map. Just highlight it and it'll show you where to go. Yeehaw. But if you want to not do the story missions and just collect the pearls, enjoy the scenery, and blow up anyone that stands in your way, you can do that. But for realsies, go collect those pearls. The pearls are the main collectibles in the game, which can be spent in the Mama Go garage for some pretty neato, but also very much mandatory upgrades for your hovercraft. What I'm trying to say is that these blue balls of sparkles and glitter are the collectibles that moves the game along, so don't pass them up and get them. Which is why I recommend grabbing the pearl detector ASAP as soon as you get into the city. Everything else is pretty much useless compared to this. You need these pearls to progress, and going around aimlessly for these pearls kinda sucks. So please do me a huge solid and grab that detector, pull up your map, and get hunting, because these things are more abundant than you think. Story missions, exploring parts of the hub world you think you can't go to, but you can very much go to. Shooting down the no-good thief, becoming an actual thief, and lastly, photography. Yeah, Jade is a reporter, so she does in fact rock a pretty cool camera that's actually a core mechanic to the game, and it's how you'll be peeping around these guys behind the scenes. You'll be tasked to document the wildlife around you and send them to the science center in exchange for units for each one. But reach a certain amount in the film and you get a pearl, and the process repeats. I mean, look at all this wildlife I found in this cool planet. You got flying fish, weird frogs, and Also, this is just a pro tip, you can very much in fact take pictures of animal citizens as well, which is a great way to get quick cash and a quick pearl.
Yeah, oh yeah. Swing those loins and squeal like a pig. Work that fork, daddy pig.
Seriously though, you'll be using the camera a lot to take photographic evidence and to document wildlife, so don't pass up any animal you walk by and make sure you don't miss what you're supposed to document. That exclamation point is there for a reason, so get to it. And you can also shoot plasma disc laser things later on in the game for some minor puzzle solving, so that's there too. So other than exploring and taking good old pictures, you'll also be doing a lot of fighting. You have a staff, go figure. The game's combat kind of feels like Kingdom Hearts 1. You'll be fighting in a usually cramped fighting space with around 1 to 4 enemies to deal with. You have your standard 3 to 4 hit combo, but you'll also got this super mega ultra combo one, which I don't know how to activate it. You'd be surprised how often mashing A and X works stupendously. Now it ain't all just mash X and you make everything die. It ain't that simple. Right at the start of the game, you have 2 hearts, also known as you have a life point system. 1 to 3 hits and you're a goner. Bye-bye! Also, you don't have a guard button either, so I'm serious. Approach enemies with caution. Stock up on hard tanks, attack at the right time, and just bust loose. The same goes for your teammate as well. If they go down, then it's game over. But hey, even though they have 2 hearts all throughout the game, I only had 1 instance where they died because I guess Hunky Dude here mistaken actual electricity for the light of paradise above. God bless your heart and also your puny little brain, but I am so tempted to shove this big green staff right up your butt. Oh yeah. You got teammates. You have your dude pal here to help you out on solving certain puzzles like pushing things, activating switches, I don't know, just stuff. But also to be the main punching bags in fights. Yeah, that's kind of it. The 2 mates you'll be switching around are once again Paige, a beautiful lump of joy who deserves all the love in the world. And then there's Double H. I hate you. You can stock them up with health items to make sure they don't kick the bucket, but they'll always be stuck with 2 health points. At least I think. I'm pretty sure you can arrange the heart tanks you earn and transfer them to your boo. I personally didn't try it out though, because hell, I never even used the inventory section at all. The game never really gave me an absolute reason to. It was only during the game's climax when I needed to pull up an object and look over it, similar to scrolling around an item in Resident Evil. This and another time were the only instances where I had to pull up the inventory. So with that being said, if it is possible, who actually spared heart tanks for your partner? If you say you did, I'm pretty sure you're lying. Anyways, besides you fighting and exposing the system, obviously one emo MCR fangirl and one drug addict Porky Pig ain't exactly the fitting deal to go up against an army of the universe. You gotta do it quietly, sneaky sneak fashion. Yes, there's stealth in the game too. You'll come across certain areas in a city or in a hidden alpha section base where you loot their pearls or most importantly, gotta show the world their crooked ways. Hold down the left trigger and you can cross these dudes as nothing more than the sound of a speck of dust. But if you want me to be perfectly honest, these segments can drag a bit though. You can come up to the dudes and hit the oxygen tanks and kick them again to watch them as they beg our Lord Jesus to take them up.
Ow!
However, if there's 2 or more of these guys in the same room, they won't be that easy to fight. They have a hard as balls to find attack window, and with these flying machine guns around, yeah, fighting these goons one-on-one ain't the best option, girl. As long as you're behind them, right beside them, or not right in front of them, and keep that finger glued to the left trigger, they won't see nor hear you. Now, fighting these guys ain't the best option to begin with, so if you come out spotted, hightail out of there and wait until the coast is clear, and they go back to the spots as if nothing happened. You can exploit the hell out of this if you want, because there really isn't a risk of getting caught, which sadly demeans the tone a bit. We're dealing with a huge army that is basically destroying our planet, so I want to feel as if I'm going up against like the system. At least the music makes me feel uneasy about sneaking around a military base, and I mean that in a good way. The music for the alpha section areas gives off an unsettling yet charming leitmotif style. It sounds like the environment around you is making the music, giving a sense of immersion. Reminds me of the leitmotif style on Oddworld. It can give off a very eerie vibe if done right, which I think Beyond Good and Evil performs to a T. You know what, while I'm at it, the soundtrack has some massive bangers as well. Now I can't say the same for all of the pieces is, but at least it's very diverse. You got pieces that go along with the game's Chinese aesthetic and ethnicity, but let me tell y'all, the Jamaican reggae pieces that plays in the garages, the minigames, and the races, they give my big a slappy. The game's art direction, world, and characters feel diverse and vibrant as well. You hardly saw games this different back in the day. It wanted to give a sense of wonder while exploring a vast open planet. While it may not be expansive as it was described, it was still a blast to gaze upon all the fun ideas and awesome characters to talk to. So to pretty much sum it all up, Beyond Good and Evil is beloved for a reason. Its identity with a beloved cast going up against a danger that could snap at any moment, you entering the eye of the storm right in the middle of the danger, the atmosphere, the fun vehicle segments, the green cloud thing that always looks so cool. All of these things all jumbled up together really does make up for a fun and memorable time, but it does have some issues. And in my case, bugs! Yeah, when you're playing this game, just watch out for this. The game is littered with bugs and glitches like freezing and falling endlessly into a black void crying for help because golly, the last time I saved was in the Black Isle and I really don't want to do that air hockey minigame again. I just want out of here. Can anyone hear me? Hello? Anyone? Regardless of that, Beyond Good and Evil is one of the most charming and wonderful games I've experienced that came out of the 2000s. It didn't want to be edgy, have licensed music galore, it wasn't trying to please anyone. Michael Ansel wanted to move forward from the Rayman series by making something truly unique. Although the game was way too ambitious, the idea of a trilogy got canned, and even though sales went down further than my Jelly Roll, this game is still to this day remembered as one of Ubisoft's forgotten gems that many people still hold dear to their hearts and memories. But sadly, our story doesn't end here. I can't talk about Beyond Good and Evil without even slightly mentioning its upcoming sequel. Upcoming having a big fat question mark right beside it. When is the game coming out? Who knows at this point? We don't even know if the development was kicked to the curb, but it sure as hecky does feel like it. The last we've seen any updates on it was 10 months ago with the Space Monkey Report 6, so it's kinda somewhat safe to say that the game is coming soon. It's just a matter of when. And because of the grand scale that it's offering, I have a slight hunch that it may be shown off at the next E3 or the one after because, you know, of the shining new PS5 and the Xbox Series X, or I could be most likely wrong. I am most likely wrong indeed.
Actually, you may be right. Hello, you squishy self-absorbed bags. I am taking over this bit while Jordan is in the back room coughing, sweating, and being sick like a weak tosser. Anywho, we just got some recent news over on Twitter stating that Michel Ancel is officially leaving the industry completely to open up a sanctuary for wildlife. Despite him leaving, he stated that development on Beyond Good and Evil 2 will continue. We also have another article from him stating that more Beyond Good and Evil 2 gameplay will be shown off next year. Whether that'll be an actual trailer with a release date, or just another Space Monkey report, we can't say for sure for now. Either way, the game might as well be cancelled.
Let me just say this, y'all. This game was first shown off at 2008 as a small cinematic trailer like, hey y'all, it's coming y'all, be excited. 2008. Now this game was reworked the wazoo. I mean, with these new trailers from 2017 onwards, gave off a whole new energetic vibe that got me excited, even if I wasn't a fan of Beyond Good and Evil at the time. The trailers were fluid, full of exciting and fun characters, an Indian Hinduism themed aesthetic which absolutely rocks. It had Paige in it. Now the gameplay is where I'm getting a little worried at. It seems, just like old times, too ambitious and tries to bite off more than it can chew. Customizable characters, traveling from planet to planet, going anywhere you want with ease, sharing skills with your teammates, online play. These are just things that, yeah, are cool, but we've seen them before. But all this jumbled up together just screams Ubisoft in my opinion. Big corporate trying to lure you in, let me take your money, update galore, microtransactions all across the board. Am I making sense here? I hope I am. This is something we've seen before and done poorly heaps of times, which also kind of worries me a little bit more because in November, we got a game that approaches the similar aesthetic of Cyberpunk, doing whatever you want, themes of diversity and rising against the system, and a game which also has been in a long development cycle, except this time is coming out shining and hot. That game being, well, Cyberpunk. I don't think people really remember Beyond Good and Evil as a crucial, vital piece in the industry, and thus the sequel won't be as strong on its own as it's meant to be, which is why if this game is ever gonna come out, it'll just be looked at as another Cyberpunk, and that makes me sad a little. Sure, a rush game is never a good game, but sometimes success isn't guaranteed no matter what it is. But seriously, I hope I'm wrong about that. I really want Beyond Good and Evil to blow me away and knock my socks off, to give me an absolute blast. Wherever it is, I'm still waiting for ya. Especially after the Ubisoft Forward livestream that happened not too long ago. I mean, we finally got Scott Pilgrim back and they're remastering Prince of Persia for crying out loud. But Beyond Good and Evil is hopefully still out there, and I'll just be patiently waiting. Anyway, anywho, that jumbles up all my thoughts and opinions about Beyond Good and Evil. What y'all think of this video? What do you think about Beyond Good and Evil? And please, while you're at it, like this video and subscribe for more funky content, memes, and screaming. Be sure to follow my social medias like Twitter and Instagram, and if you want to support me, there's Patreon and TeePublic. All the links are down below. But anyway, anywho, it's like 2 in the morning, I need sleep. Y'all be sure to check out my other content and be sure to let me know how much you hate my voice. So y'all be cool, be wild, be groovy. I'm gonna be chucking down orange juice and chicken wings for the next 20 minutes. Bye!
I don't know what the f you said about Assassin's Creed. I haven't seen the video yet. The video's not even done and shit, and I don't even know what to do. And it's like fucking asses and shit. Some smack talking Assassin's Creed or some shit and fucking I don't know. It's just getting oh god, it's still rolling.